Today we're going to draw feather as meditative drawing. So we're going to start off with two large lines in the middle and then our swoopy feather, and we're going to divide it up with these lines across it. And then what we're going to do is we're going to fill in each space with doodles. So they can be any type of doodles. And the idea here while we do this is we take our time and maybe listen to some nice music in the background and just focus on filling in the feather. And when you're doing this kind of meditative drawing, you keep moving your pen at all times. So the idea is your pen is always moving along the paper, and it doesn't really matter what the outcome of the drawing is. What matters is that you're completely engrossed in it and that you keep doodling. And again, it's not about the finished piece, it's about the process. So as you watch me filling in my feather here, I'm just focusing on each section at a time as I go. And I'm doing simple shapes and using kind of shading and colouring in to make those shapes a little more interesting. But I'm not planning it. There is no plan for how this is going to look. The whole feather took me half an hour. And when you see it here as I'm going along, it's a bit messy. I'm not being very careful exactly where my lines go. I'm kind of just having fun with it. So you can do that as well and just having fun with it and not spending too much time. Or you can spend a lot more time and try to make it look a lot more perfect and structured. And in that case, you'll spend at least twice as long doing it. But it's all right if you don't. So here I'm just using really simple lines or curves or boxes, triangles, circles, and spirals. And in each section, I try to do something a little different, and then I move on to the next one. And I am using shading, so I am colouring things in black in the background when I feel like I kind of want to. But it's a very fluid exercise. And like our other meditation exercises, the idea behind this is to lose yourself in what you're doing so that you're concentrating on your shapes and the bits of black you're colouring in. And while you're doing that, your brain is not thinking about anything else. So it gives it a rest and it helps you feel a little bit more rested at the end of the drawing. So you can see that some of them are quite simple. I'm just colouring them in black or putting lots of dots in or some curly lines, and other ones I'm spending a little more time on. And I'm just really not thinking and just following shapes as I go and deciding what to do as I go, which you can probably tell by the way that it's not symmetrical and it hasn't been planned and it doesn't look like it's been planned. So the other interesting thing is that the simplest shapes, whether they're squares, circles, triangles, they can end up through layers looking actually really good and coming up with some really interesting ways of drawing. And even something as simple as a line, when done kind of over and over, ends up being quite meditative. So I'd love if you gave this a go and just draw a simple feather shape and fill it in with whatever you feel like doing in that moment. And then I'd love if you shared with me what you've done. And remember, there's no planning in this, just have some fun and just fill in the blocks with any shapes or colours you can think of. And there we have my feather, and I'd love to see what you come up with.